Well, hello, this is Hiro again. It seems like this Ishizukuri is going to be a very popular subject. So I thought what I do today is to share with you how I'm trying to organize myself. Well, I was able to find this cart, and down below I have all these pre-made parts. Like the second from the top is all the pieces that can become the light section or the top cap. And then we have different assortment down below. To our left is the tumbling machine, and then over to our right is the mortar mix. Now, I think I covered it already once, but I also put this mortar mix in the small container so I don't have to dig out this big box every time. I think most of you have figured out that I like tools. And look here, in here. Now, I've been using some of the basic tools, but then I also found a full assortment. So anyway, these are usually used by painters, but it works really well for what we need to do. In this section, we got diamonds, diamond file, chisels, and well, I got all assortment of diamond files. And then over here, we have our brushes that occasionally you need to clean, right? So they're in my drawer. Okay, these are tile nippers that work fairly well. And then this is a bigger version of the diamond file. And these are available at your box stores. Look under the tile tool section. That's where I found these. And if we look in this other drawer, well, I have drill bits, clamps, some glue, things like that, so that I can, usually I have a problem finding things, so this way I think I get everything ready to go and enroll it to where I'm working. Okay, here we have sort of semi-precious stones. These can be made into jewelry and things like that, but I have some ideas that we'll probably cover in the future. But anyway, I have them all organized in here. These are polished stones. Hard to use, but I have some ideas. So anyway, this is my roll up to the job cart, and well, let's kind of get started on how we put some of this together. This is one of the toughest parts. This one had salted peanuts, and I had to eat it so I could have the lid. So we take the lid and we mix our mortar right onto that. So what we do is we have this. Whoop. We'll put that and then add water, and then we have the medium to stick all the rocks together. So far, not very complicated and actually very economical. So what I've done is these were all bigger pieces that I broke, and then to make them feel like it was nature's doing, I put it in the tumbler, right? The tumbling will sort of round off the edges so that it almost looks like it came out of the creek. So we got Arizona, some sort of Arizona I can't remember whether it's Arizona sunset or sunrise, but it's type of a slate. And then in the middle is the mica slate. one was actually a very big piece. My next door neighbor, he went when they were demolishing the Newcastle Elementary School. So this was the blackboard. And he went and got it and decided he really didn't need it, so he gave it to me. And I've been sort of breaking them up and then making it look like weather-worn pieces. But anyway, so this is the black slate, and it genuine blackboard. So when it's one side is smooth, that's where the writing is. The other side is a little bit, it's flat, but it's got texture. Well, so I broke them up and then made into these workable pieces. So anyway, I thought we'd do at least one project, how these get done. So in here, we have what could become the base. Something like this, right? And then some pieces can become the pedestal part or the body. You just have to kind of mix and match. And then the other bin there, they're flatter, so the collar, the roof, and then, the hard part sometimes is where the light section is. And so some are, if I'm going to use the same stone, there's some in here, and then other times I want to sort of mix the different rocks, so they'll be in another bin. But anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can make one today. Okay, in the first box I found this as the base, and then this is the column, pillar, or whatever you want to call it. It's slightly off, but when we mortar it, we could fix it slightly. If it's too tilted, we have to take another measure, either sand it so that it's flat, but the slight movement is doable with our mortar. And then this is our collar, this is the light section, this is the roof, and the cap. Oop. Okay, so all I have to do now is to put it together. One thing, we don't need a lot, right? So that's why this method works so well. There's no concrete tool that I know of will work this slow. So this is, you gotta look in the artist section. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna get started. You know, your base should be nice and solid and not relatively flat, I think. But this way it's tilted slightly, so I'm going to, well, if it's too tilted, what you do is to put this on the bottom and then thicker on this side, and then let it set and then put it on. So in the meantime, I could take this, now you got to put enough so that it sticks, but you see how it kind of comes out? Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to take care of that. When I first started, I was having problems, and I have done this type of work before in landscape, and I've forgotten what I used to do, but now I remember. So we put this on there, right? Also, the earlier segments, chapters, were done with the conventional mortar. Actually, what I was using, something that Fred gave me 20 years ago. It was still fine because it was kept dry, but that one was the standard. And in the winter, it took forever. It took almost a week before the center part was dry. So I was having all kind of problems with this. But this one here is it sets up pretty quick. That's why you don't want to make a big batch. Now we're doing one at a time today, but when I'm doing my work, usually I have between 10 and 20 of them going at the same time, so that I don't have to do this wait and then kind of hurry up. Well, remember I said I was trying to make 1,000, right? If I'm going to try to make 1,000 in 5, 6, 7 months, then I have to be more organized and not making one at a time like this. But I thought I'd show you how you could do it. Okay, what you do, you should have a second one that's clean. And what you do is before it dries, you cut it off. Now, initially, the motor was not setting up fast enough, so I couldn't do this, and I had forgotten this technique. See? So if you go back to my earlier chapters on this, there was some really sloppy work. But I know how to correct it now, but I'll show you those in later chapters. So this is the correct way to do it, then you don't run into the problem, right? Just take this. So you have to have enough for it to kind of squeeze out, or else it won't stay. So that's where it's going to take a while to figure this out. This part here, there's a slope. So you could either take your file and shape that down, or what you do is kind of build this up. So when you put this piece on, it's flat. And now all you have to do is wait. Okay, we got at least a half an hour of wait before I could put this together, so that the mortar that I mix is going to waste. That's why you want to make small batches. Or if I'm making 10 or 15 at a time, I just keep putting it together and then just wait. A lot of times when I get back to the first one, then it's already set up. I really like this quick set. Well, it's going to be warmer, so it's going to really be quick set. So I won't have a lot of time to fiddle around. Hey, if you're like me and don't like to waste any of this mortar, what you do is you start making other, see back there, the roof and the cap. I got those so that in the future I have them ready made. Okay, now it's been 20-30 minutes. I made a very small batch and it stays. Okay, so it was one of the simple projects that we just did. I'll show you a couple others that I did previously. Just the same method, right? Pre-made parts assembled. So if you're wondering what I do with all these, especially that it's more than 300, I put it in here and put it away. So sometime later in the year, and I'm thinking like right after Thanksgiving, I'll have a big sale. But I wanted to make sure I had 1,000 made before I really offered to the public. So I guess I'll sign off now. So this is the Ishizukuri simple project. And we'll have other projects that we'll start with the simple one and then we'll get more complex. But I'm feeling good about this being accepted by the public. So far, everybody that have seen it, they really like this concept. So we'll be making more and more of these, especially now that summer is coming around and you're going to have time to go look for parts, unless you start to make your own parts like I've been doing for this type of project. But we'll be doing others where we're using naturally found rocks, and then some of the problems that we run into with some of those. Okay, so anyway, I'll see you again real soon in another chapter. So this has been the Ishizukuri, which translates to made with rocks. So what am I going to do with the roof? Well, I have this box with other ready-made roofs. So I'll put them aside, and when there's a need for it, I have them pre-made. It's called efficiency, and that's the main difference between a hobbyist and a business venture.